Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? The Saints had their Hall of Fame golf tournament today, and Mickey Loomis afterwards met with reporters, and he did talk about the decision to sign Foster Moreau. Dennis Allen over the weekend met with reporters during the minicamp availability, talked about Foster Moreau as well. I want you to hear what both had to say, and the timing is interesting because one of the players we were thinking they might count on, they actually won't be counting on now. First, here was Mickey Loomis again, Monday, Saints golf tournament. This video, by the way, was Twitter, courtesy of our buddy Ross Jackson. So shout out Ross Jackson, Locked on Saints, with the video courtesy. Here you go.
Well, first of all, we brought him in because he's a good player and a versatile, well-rounded tight end. The fact that he's from New Orleans and has a history, at LSU and here really had nothing to do with our interest in him. That was, and that's emotional, to come take a physical and discover something that is unexpected. I know that's tough on him and his family, and yet they handle it so beautifully. And the great news is that the prognosis is good, and even the treatment protocol that he's going to be under is going to allow him to do some things in this offseason and hopefully play in the fall.
So, first of all, that's the most interesting thing there. Obviously, he's talking about the emotion of it for he and his family, how they Foster and his family, how they handled everything. But he also said, look, he's from New Orleans, but him being from New Orleans or going to LSU had nothing to do with the signing, which I completely believe. Those are very nice pieces of the story that make it a very nice human interest piece. There's certainly an element where if you're an LSU fan, you're going to gravitate toward Foster as well. Went to Jesuit, gigantic alumni base in New Orleans. So a lot of reasons why that makes sense, not related to football. But from a football standpoint, it's all the things we talked about. Saints desperately needed a tight end. You traded Adam Troutman, and you got Jawan Johnson, Taysom Hill, who are not traditional tight ends. You don't have that guy. And we've looked through the free agents in this cycle, and they aren't there. So, yeah, this was the best football option for your team as well. All the other things associated are ancillary and very nice. Dennis Allen, on Saturday, when he met with reporters, had this to say about the decision to sign Foster.
I've only had him here for a couple of days. I like the addition, I like the person, I like the player. He's got some versatility. He can play both in line and in a move position. He's smart. He's tough. He's a lot of the characteristics that we look for in Saints players. So I think he'll be a good addition. I like the fact that, Derek has some familiarity with him.
Of course, look, Dennis Allen, by the way, was not in Oakland when Foster was drafted, just to get the timeline. I'm sure most of you know that, but D.A. was the head coach of the Raiders in 2012-13, then the beginning of the 14 season, which is when Derek Carr was there, made the decision to draft Derek Carr, and then he was fired, but was not there with Foster, just to clarify. Derek Carr and Foster Moreau have spent their careers together, which is a great synergy for those two to have that familiarity, and for the quarterback to co-sign. For all those reasons, it makes a lot of sense. Now, another reason why the Foster Moreau signing is even more important now, and by the way, one of the other things that Dennis Allen did say this weekend, I don't know if we have it here, that's okay. He mentioned that there's a really good chance that Foster Moreau will be available for OTAs. They're trending toward him being available, that he's gotten his treatment for Hodgkin's lymphoma, and they're expecting Foster, if all goes as it's expected now, for him to be available for OTAs, which is stunning because when the initial diagnosis came, the timeline we were talking about was quite possibly Foster starting the season on the non-football injury list and then being able to return sometime kind of in October. You're talking about OTAs starting here shortly and Foster potentially being there for that, which is awesome. Okay. And by the way, I know I say this, but I don't know that I need the caveat, but I think we all understand. Of course, it's awesome from a human perspective that, he's diagnosed with stage 2 cancer, and just a few months later, he's going to be on a football field. just the humanity part of this is the most important. We all understand that. I am looking at it in a sense, of course, through a football prism, because that's kind of what we're doing here. But we all don't. I mean, we all understand. Like, of course, Foster's health and everything is first and foremost and paramount in everything. So just the clarification. But from a football standpoint, the reason this has become even more important is that one of the guys the Saints signed as an undrafted free agent, Joel Wilson, the rookie tight end out of Central Michigan, did not pass his physical. So Joel Wilson was out of Central Michigan, was a very good tight end for the Chippewas, played there for Jim McElwain, the former Florida coach, and this was one of the undrafted free agent signings that we looked at as very important because it was a very good player who many thought would be a drafted prospect at a position of great need for the Saints. Like, the two spots they didn't draft a player that they really needed help was linebacker and tight end. And so they go sign Joel Wilson as an undrafted free agent tight end, and we're going, okay, they think this guy could make the team. And so very disappointing that he didn't pass his physical. He had a season-ending ankle injury at Central Michigan in November. He was able to do some of the pre-draft workouts, which is why the Saints were comfortable signing him. But in bringing him in for the physical, the full physical now here as an undrafted free agent coming into rookie minicamp, he did not pass, so he did not sign with the Saints. That's not to say that won't happen at some point, but they did not sign him now because he didn't pass the physical. So the Saints have Juwan Johnson, Taysom Hill, who's not even really a tight end, but listed as a tight end. Lucas Kroll, who was an undrafted free agent out of Pitt last year, who you stashed on the practice squad, and then Miller Forrestall, former Alabama tight end as well. Like, that's it. So you need Foster Moreau. You need him. It's not just a luxury. It's not just a nice story. It's not just the local guy getting to play for the local team. It's a position of real need for the Saints, and he's your best option. So the fact that he is apparently handling the diagnosis and the treatment and responding to it exceptionally well is awesome. Similarly, it's super important for this football team that Foster is getting healthy and going to be ready to go, hopefully for the start of the season, because they really don't have any great options after Foster Moreau at this point. So all that appears to be pointed in a very positive direction for Foster Moreau, thank God, and for the New Orleans Saints when they head toward the football season. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.